Hi-Fi Rush was a surprise game release just a few weeks ago, where everything in the game is tied to rhythm. Movement, combat, the environment, all of it centers around playing on beat. And as you might expect, in order to successfully speedrun the game, you also need to remain on beat. Not just so that you can perform better in the game, but there are also some glitches and skips that rely on you being able to stay on rhythm. Today, I am talking to the first ever Hi-Fi Rush speedrunning world record holders. Of course, it is still early days for this game's community, but I'm going to talk to these two about how rhythm comes into play in every aspect of this game, the skips that they found so far, what it means to them to get the first ever world record, and then, of course, the future of this game and what they see in its potential. This video will not have story spoilers, but it may show footage of gameplay and combat and movement from later in the game. Subtitles are available, and if you enjoy speedrunning videos, be sure to subscribe. Okay, so the first thing that I asked them is, how difficult is it actually to have every single one of your inputs have to be lined up with the music?
So the benefits of your attacks being in sync, it's a curse and a blessing. So basically, with the attacks being on beat, that means you can't speed up your attacks or they're not slow in any way. But the main benefit of pressing your buttons on time is that you get extra damage. So I think one of the great things about this game is that, especially for speedrunning, is that you don't have to worry about super hard techniques in terms of fights, because the only thing you need to worry about is pressing your buttons on time. Because when you press your buttons on time, you get a bonus called adjust timing, and when you get adjust timing, you get additional damage on your attacks. So the basic sword enemies, they only take 3 just timing swings from a light attack, so that's incredibly fast. I think if you miss every single just timing and you're just mashing, the X button or the left click, then it takes around like 5 to 6. So you're actually wasting and you're losing more time if you're just mashing like randomly.
I think that this game hosts a variety of really good accessibility options for people that are more rhythmically disadvantaged. There's really good visual markers, and basically, like if you can make like a simple tap, like the tempos aren't like crazy to the point where you're like button mashing. If anything, I think that it makes it more accessible, just because it's easier. Like, if I were to get into, like, DMC, or maybe another combo fighting game that is like a arcade-based fighter when I'm fighting somebody, it would be harder for me to learn those, like, insane combos because of their inputs and, like, their timing for it. Rather, like, I would know in this game, like, okay, my timing is on beat 1 and 2, which might have like a second or 2 seconds depending on like it's just a little bit more lenient is what I'm trying to get at.
So with the movement, it's actually also not that tricky as well, at least on a base level. So you're given a dash, and you're given a jump, a double jump, and then an air dash. So the way movement works is, originally, if you don't do anything else, you can only link 3 dashes, and then you have to wait for the 4th beat, and then it resets. So what a lot of us realized is that what you can do in the game is you can do a dash attack cancel in the middle of your 3rd dash. So you do dash, 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 you attack in the middle of your 3rd dash, and then you can immediately dash on the next beat. It's a really simple movement tech that we learned, but it's something that anyone can do. So in that way, like, movement feels very clean in that game as long as you just get the rhythm down. And then I would say the only like bad part about the movement is the jumping. The jumping is notoriously bad just because you have no horizontal distance. The verticality is fine, but you do not move anywhere when you jump. So we've been having to try and break the game as much as we can with the limited horizontal movement that we have in the air, but it's been working out so far.
Okay, so what you just heard from Moistrock and Brewbee are probably my biggest takeaways from my interviews with them, which is that you don't have to be rhythmically inclined or really good at staying on beat in order to succeed in this speedrun. You just have to enjoy the game, enjoy the combat, and you'll probably do fine. The next thing that I was interested about was the glitches and the skips that they found so far in this game's very short lifespan.
The main skip that I was responsible for finding was the track 7 or level 7 skip, where there's an arena right before the Corsica boss fight. It's a pretty tough arena. It's basically a sphere, and then there's these parts of the sphere that just like pop out. So we had used a trick similar in the 3rd level, where the rocks start pulsing up and down based on the beat. And so what I discovered is that you can actually do a jump, you can dash into the corner where it's jumping out of, and then you can literally just jump over the arena, and then you follow the railing. So I was responsible for finding that skip. Oh yeah, so this game actually, as long as they're not like hard scripted arena fights, you can skip around, I think, 4 arenas in the game so far. And I would also say, like, I'm not necessarily great at finding skips, but I would say I'm good at refining what people have found. So besides the skip in track 7, I did optimize a setup that was used for what I mentioned previously in the track 3, where there is a button skip where you have to double jump and you have to clip yourself onto a rock. And the funny thing is that one also requires timing based on the music, because that one's a 4/4 tempo beat. You stand on some pipes, and then you just jump on the second beat, and then it's second beat jump, third beat double jump, fourth beat dash into the rocks, and then that way you're just set up so that you're clipping onto an invisible platform.
There's another skip where you can only do it in New Game Plus, because if you do it in New Game, you get soft locked out of a tech and you can't really progress forward. It's a tech where you jump on a wall panel and then you jump on like a door frame, and you have to make a pretty long jump. I couldn't get it the first couple of times. It's very finicky type of jump. I think it's more of like where your camera looks when you make it, but you know, that's just me spitballing. And you jump over a ledge, you essentially skip the parry tutorial. That's maybe like 4 minutes there too, depending on what the time crunch is. I definitely know that like there are some more skips and stuff to be discovered, but that is for people that have more patience than myself.
Finally, the last thing I asked them is if it felt significant to have cemented their names in the history books as the first ever full game world record holders for Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh yeah, personally, of course I do. Yeah, I just it's nice to also, like, with my first thing, like, see myself on the scoreboard and be like, okay, like, I was the first one, so of course it's like a big personal moment for me. It's not something I want to go around and be like, oh, look at me, like, I'm flexing, yeah, I'm number 1, even though I did post it on my Instagram, and I was like, look at this, first one, baby. Yeah, it's a very big personal moment, but it also, like, pushes me to want to be better. At the end of my at the first speed run, the one that is currently on, I'm like a little hard on myself because I got 2 hours and 47 minutes when I knew I could hit at least 2:45. That was like my going number.
Yeah, so honestly speaking, I do feel happy that I have the world record right now. I think I had a better sense of accomplishment knowing that I was the first sub 3 hour run in the community. But I think ultimately, because the game is in its infancy, there's not a whole lot of accomplishment right now, in terms of the sense that, you know, I'm just one of 3 runners who have submitted runs for now. And the thing is, the whole goal wasn't necessarily just to get the world record. It's just to inspire and have a somewhat benchmark for other people to look at, or an example, just to see, like, this is what the game can be if you use every single skip that we have so far. And then there's still a lot that we need to do with optimization. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really pissed when I was playing my run, just because I did have a minute lead, and then, you know, you're playing for over 2 hours, and then all of a sudden I'm starting choking and I'm losing all that time. So it's not the best run to hear me personally. So, but overall, I am happy with the time so far. But again, I'll just keep trying to reduce it down to sub 2:45. And I know I can't rest easy, because there are definitely some killers out in the Discord, especially the people who are looking for all the skips and everything, that they know what I'm doing. So I'm worried about what they can do in their runs, see what's going to happen.
I want to give a tremendous thank you to Moistrock and Brewbee for agreeing to interview for this video. If you want to speedrun the game, all the information that you might need is in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.